Harvard researchers looked into the differences between judges who are appointed by Democrats versus Republicans and how that impacts their sentencing decisions. Are there differences, and if so, what are those differences? Well, the researchers found the following. Republican-appointed judges sentence Black defendants to 3 more months than similar non-Black and female defendants, to 2 fewer months than similar males compared with Democratic-appointed judges. So let me break that down further. They found that Republican-appointed judges are likely to be harsher on Black defendants when it comes to, or Black criminals when it comes to sentencing, and a lot more lenient when it comes to females when it comes to sentencing. I got to be honest, I was surprised by the female convicts in this case. Now, these differences cannot be explained by other judge characteristics and grow substantially larger when judges are granted more discretion. So I'm a little iffy on that part of it because while the data might prove that to be true, I do think that giving judges more discretion is important because if you start doing mandatory minimums and things like that, oftentimes those mandatory minimums are influenced by the private prison industry and those who want to imprison people for longer periods of time because there is a profit motive behind that. So I do like judges having more discretion, but according to the data in this study, there are downsides to that in some cases.
Yeah, so I think that's a really tough question, especially when you dive into the data here. First, let's be fair to Republican judges in a couple of different ways. If you're a woman, well, you want to draw a Republican judge. They're going to be more lenient on you, as Anna pointed out, right? So now that's not really fair to men, okay? But Republican judges are not the only ones that discriminate against African American defendants. They just do it more.
Yeah.
So on average, African American defendants get 4.8 more months for the same crimes that white defendants do, okay? So now you might not know what white privilege is or you might not experience it in your life, but that's the whole point of the phrase of white privilege, is that you never see it if you're white. So you don't know that you got 5 months in prison less than a Black guy did for the same crime. So as you're sitting in prison, you don't feel like you got white privilege. You're not rich, you don't have power, you're sitting in a jail cell. But what you don't know is you got 5 months less than the Black guy for the same thing.
Yes, and that's why it's so, I think people find it offensive or at least difficult to accept or understand what the whole notion of white privilege is, because it's basically accepting that you are not experiencing certain things. Right, and so if you're not experiencing things, then it's hard for you to understand it. So if you're getting a shorter prison sentence, you might not know that, Anyway, yeah. So I don't want to get into a whole discussion about white privilege again because people who want to understand it do. People who don't will never understand it.
And they'll get triggered by it. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
But look, let's keep going with the facts though. And so this is my interpretation of it based on obvious math here. But Democratic judges, that means give about 2 months more to Black defendants than white defendants as well. It's just that Republicans give even more sentencing, like longer sentences to Blacks than Democrats do.
So also, I want to look. This is a small distinction, and take it for what it's worth. But we're specifically talking about judges appointed by Republicans versus judges appointed by Democrats. Now, we all know it's more likely that a Republican will appoint a Republican judge and Democrats will do the same, but that's still an important distinction.
I hear you, but like people hang their hat on those semantics and it's nonsense. The Republican judges vote in Republican ways. So Gorsuch comes in and goes, there are no Republican or Democratic judges. And then he votes with the Republicans every time. It's nonsense. Of course there are. And sometimes they're even elected. And then they are in a political party in some cases. So now let's talk about judges from states that are historically more racist. So wait, how do you determine if a state's more racist? Well, they had an interesting proxy for that. What is the polling on whether you think interracial marriage is not acceptable, right? So if you live in a state where there's a higher percentage of people who think interracial marriage is unacceptable or should be illegal, South, but not just the South. If you live in a state like that, then black defendants are treated even more harsh than white defendants. So yeah, it is cultural in some ways. So when people say, well, we're proud of our heritage, well, there's good things to be proud of in every different kinds of culture and heritage, including in the South, etc. But there's also bad parts of culture and heritage. And so in this case, that culture of racism seeps down. It doesn't mean everyone in the state is, it doesn't mean every judge is, it doesn't mean every Republican judge is. But on average, it does seep down so that black people get more prison time than white people for the same crime.
For the same crime, and it's important to really emphasize that. So how was this study done? What was the methodology? As I mentioned, it was done by 2 Harvard researchers, and Alma Cohen and Crystal Yang are the researchers who did this. Let's go to graphic 38. Here's the methodology. They examined the sentencing practices of about 1,400 federal trial judges over more than 15 years, relying on information from the Federal Judicial Center, the United States Sentencing Commission, and the Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse at Syracuse University. So one of the reasons why this particular study is getting so much attention is because of its length and because of how extensive it was. And so, people who study criminal justice are looking at this as incredibly important data. This is not a politically motivated, flawed study. This is a peer-reviewed study that, again, was done over a long period of time. And of course, they made sure to look at people who were charged and convicted of the same crime in order to compare these disparities. Another finding that I thought was interesting was that black judges treat male and female offenders more equally than white judges do. Black judges appointed by Republicans treat black offenders more leniently than do other Republican appointees. So
yeah, well, it turns out if you're a black Republican, you might like lower taxes, but you don't necessarily think black people are dangerous because you're black. Now, by the way, it's not always the case, but it turns out on average for judges, it is the case. They looked at 500,000 defendants. This is an excellent study. I actually think they went over the top in trying to point out how fair and non-judgmental they were. In one case, they talk about, they said, well, look, we're not judging whether this is a right thing or a wrong thing. What do you mean? Black people are getting lengthier sentences than white people for the same crime. You can judge that. That's a bad thing, right? It's like it's bending over backwards. Hey, right wing, maybe it's an okay thing to be racist against black people.
That's not what they. So let me read you their exact quote because I want you. Let's represent. Let's represent them accurately. They said the following, graphic 36, the precise reasons why these disparities by political affiliation exist remain unknown, and we caution that our results cannot speak to whether the sentences imposed by Republican or Democratic appointed judges are warranted or right. That's what they said in the study.
And I'm not trying to denigrate them. They did an amazing study, but that quote is saying, well, maybe it's okay for Republicans to sentence black people to longer terms than Democrats. Do they think that? I hope they don't think that, but this is what happens when the right wing attacks everyone endlessly.
Right, well, they're terrified. This is my read, this is my speculation, so take it for what it's worth. My read is that they don't want anyone to think that this research was done with political motivations. They wanted to find accurate data and make sure that it's clear that it's accurate data that's not politically motivated, because they know that this is a sensitive topic that they will probably get attacked on.
I'm sure, and I'm sure that a lot of right wing will go, well, I'm glad they said that. You know why? Because I think black people should get more sentencing, higher sentencing for the same crimes as white people. They're more dangerous. You think people won't say that? They'll say that in the comment section of this video, right? And then the New York Times bends over backwards and says, well, look, the study was done over 15 years, but it was 1999 to 2015. And since then, the Republican Party has also pushed for sentencing reform. Some of that is a tiny bit true. Do you think that's affected all the judges in the country already? Oh, they got Rand Paul says he wants some sentencing reform. All right, never mind everybody. They don't even know they're doing it. To be fair to them, the judges aren't going around, I hate black people, I'm racist, I'm gonna make sure that black guy gets more time, or I hate guys, and I'm going to make sure the guy gets more time for the same crime as the woman. No, it's subconscious bias. It's implicit bias. That's what we're trying to explain to you. And they looked at 500,000 cases. It's clearly there. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. Then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.